Good day. This time we're looking at stylistics, point of view, and modality. Everyday speech, we typically use the phrase point of view or POV to refer someone's perspective of an action or event. This figurative understanding of the phrase underlies the use of the term in stylistics. Figurative understanding means you give the beauty of appreciating or understanding the phrase used in stylistics and literary. Point of view in literature refers to angle of telling, the viewpoints of something that is related to thought of a narrative act. Writers use point of view to express their personal emotion, their character, or themselves. Central to the concept of narrative viewpoints is the distinction between who tells and who sees. Who tells, who is the narrator of the thoughts, and who sees, who is the listener of the thoughts of someone can barely see the thoughts of the message. We have different types of point of view. First is the spatial point of view. Spatial point of view encodes distance, nearer, farther, as well as position in relation to other objects, and it is non-metaphorical sense, meaning it is non-comparable with two things. Like for example, the lion disappeared into the distance. This sentence represents a viewing position behind the lion, with the lion moving away. And it differs from the lion got larger and larger. This sentence represents viewing position in front of the lion, with it moving nearer and nearer to the viewing position. Second is temporal point of view. It refers to the speaker's perception of the passing of time. It also refers to the temporal dimension in which the subject of the fiction is framed. The third one is ideological point of view. It refers to the value systems and sets of belief which reside in text. The next one is psychological perspective. It is a philosophy which would guide someone's interpretation of an individual's behavior. Next is modality. We have to consider the various types of narration, emphasizing throughout their centrality to point of view effects in narrative. Modality engage speaking through face-to-face, over the telephone, Google Meet, or Zoom. Next, we have the four modal systems of English. First, we have deontic. Deontic system of modality is expressed through the use of modal auxiliaries or through adjectival or participle combinations such as be, that, and do constructions. Like for example, he is allowed to come. It is essential that he come. Next is volumic. Volumic is the expression of desire, and it is conveyed through the use of modal lexical verbs such as hope, wish, and regret. Volumic is adjective and participle combinations with be, that, be to can also be employed. Like for example, it is hoped that he will come. It is good that he is coming. Next is epistemic. It is concerned with the speaker's confidence or lack of confidence in the truth of a proposition expressed. Epistemic can conveyed in a number of ways. Through the use of modal auxiliaries, for example, he could be wrong. Through modal lexical verbs, for example, he supposes he is right. And adjectives in the be, that, and be to construction. For example, it is certain that he is wrong. And through epistemic modal verbs, example, maybe, possibly, certainty, and probably. Next is perception. Perception is the level of speaker's commitment to the veracity of a preposition is based upon a reference to human powers perception, usually visual perception. Perception conveyed through adjectives plus be, that, and be to constructions. Like for example, it is obvious that he is wrong. And through their related modal verbs. For example, obviously he is wrong. Now let's proceed to modal grammar of point of view in narrative. And we have category A and category B narratives. Category A narratives define the first person by participating character within the story, while Category B narratives are all related by a third-person narrator who is not participant in the story. Category A passive, these linguistic features integral to this type of narration are verba sentiente and evaluative adjectives and adverbs, and this is coupled with the employment of deontic and volumic modal indicators. Verba sentiente refers to physical and mental perception, what we hear, see, learn, taste, while Category A negative characterized by a proliferation of epistemic signifiers, such as modal auxiliaries, modal adverbs, and modal lexical verbs, and also perception modal markers. Category A neutral is a subjective opinion. Category A neutral attempt at a psychological evaluation of the actions or characters which populate the narrative. Rather, the narrator tends to withhold their subjective opinions, preparing to tell the story solely through categorical assertions. And Category A neutral is usually characterized by extended passages of physical description, and whole text in this mode are rare. And now let's proceed to Category B neutral. While Category A neutral is a subjective form, Category B neutral is an objective form of a narrative. Category B is similar to Category A neutral through, obviously, Category B is rendered in the third person, and the story told from outside the consciousness of any narrative. And in Category B, we have Category B passive plus narrative, whereas the narrator does not participate in the narrative action but correspond closely with its Category A counterpart. And also we have Category B negative plus narrative. It have a similar feel to their Category A equivalents, as epistemic and perception modalities are similarly foregrounded, while deontic and volumic modal markers are suppressed. And it is characterized by a negative modal shading, which appears to destabilize the reality of events and characters in the story world. Category B narratorial mode is often used in the description of villains or protagonists, with the supposition being that villains can be judged on their external appearance and actions alone. And that's all po. It's difficult to understand, but I know that I did my best.